The quiet streets of Canfield, Ohio, but just beyond the backyard fences of this peaceful mid-American neighborhood lay relics of the interstate. Taken from the boneyard, it's as if Boot Hill spirits beneath the dashboards have been stirred, and these garage ghosts are out to wreak havoc on the high-ripping monsters who now have disturbed their resting place. This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the best in MTRA monster truck racing. From the Canfield Fairgrounds in Canfield, Ohio, it's the Dodge Monster Drags. In the world of motorsports, if I mention the Intimidator, you'll likely think about a black #3 Chevrolet Monte Carlo of Winston Cup driver Dale Earnhardt. But in monster truck racing, it's not Chevrolet, it's the Ford pair of Bob Chandler. And now this weekend, we're in northeastern Ohio, in Canfield. But here, there is another intimidation factor. And with that story, here's Army Armstrong.
The right lane at Canfield Fairgrounds. Gary, this lane has about a 4.5-foot drop right off the right lane. Has a tendency to intimidate some of the drivers. One of the drivers we've been keeping an eye on is Fred Shafer in the Dodge. Drivers with quick time get lane choice. In the first round, Shafer took this right lane. That kind of surprised everybody because I want you to think back with me. He's been in 3 finals this year. Of the 3 finals, 2 times he's hooked to the right on the track and been disqualified. If he should do the same thing on this track, it could be disastrous because of this downhill slide. Now, the right lane has always been an action lane. As a matter of fact, earlier this evening, we proved it again. But the left lane still can jump up and bite you. And Gary, tell us more about that.
Well, Army, we want to take you back to qualifying now. This is Mark Hall in the Executioner. Earlier today, this was in qualifying. And he almost gets first on his nose, then veers off to the left. So that could have been a very costly ride that could have ended up on his head. Now, once again, we're still in qualifying action earlier today. This is Ken Deppe in Rampage. Look at the wheel stand, and he hits that second group of cars. Hang on. He's still on the power. Look at this. And pulls it back out by staying on the power. Incredible. Now, he's coming right at you. Had he gotten off the throttle, he would have barrel rolled that thing side for side.
What happened? The right rear suspension leg go right here. He kicks the nose down. Boom. There's a space in between those cars. He nosed over into it. Now the right rear suspension's gone. He is picking up on the throttle. He's more than picking up. He is mashing the motor, trying to keep one of those 4 wheels on the ground. It works. The right front stays on the ground, and it pulls him down. One of my big concerns was why was he on the throttle and why the kill switch was not activated to shut that truck off. The question right now is the kill switch.
Army, you know, the radio was on. I got crooked off of there and, you know, going up on its nose, and I was just trying to bring the truck around, and actually I had my foot to the floor. When I finally got stopped over here, I was going to turn my front wheels, try to get them straight, because I could tell I had them turned, and then it died, and I looked up, and the motor, you know, the radio was flashing, so I figured they'd waited to kill me till I got down here, and they said that they'd been trying sooner. I don't know, Army.
You know, it's an electronic safety kill switch. As soon as they activate it, it should have worked. Simple as that, Gary. And all that came out of the left lane.
Well, once again, still in qualifying, this turns out to be perhaps the most violent qualifying station we've ever had here on Trucks and Tractor Power. Right lane action with Brian Welch, and he is all over the shutdown area and finally gets it on over. Incredibly so, he walked away. He was uninjured.
The qualifying sessions are just awesome here because this is real racing. You're not going to get around it. Anybody says these guys are doing it for grins and giggles are about half goofy because these guys do not tear up equipment like that.
He started to climb out through where the window would be and I said, hey, wait a minute. The whole top's out of the truck. I can just walk through there. Okay. Watch again.
One of the things I'm wondering, you let me know when the kill switch is activated. The kill switch was activated on this accident. He noses over. Now, you got to remember, these big old tires weigh about 1,000 pounds, so centrifugal force is going to keep him rolling. But right now, he's dead in the water, if you will. The motor is off. He is just along for the ride and the landing. As you can tell by this interview, his adrenaline was on Mach 1.
Tell you what, that's what a roll cage is supposed to do. We went up around. I've seen the ground a couple times. Everything was good. The truck seemed to hold together good. I don't know what happened back there. We come up the second ramp, back in, tried to pass the front end up for some reason. We got the new KB motor in here from Van Sinis. I'll tell you what, it's putting the power out.
It'll take some work to get that truck back in order, but as you can see, the roll cage held. Brian is okay. We're ready for the competition to continue when we come back to Canfield, Ohio. Welcome back to the Canfield Fairgrounds here in Canfield, Ohio for the Dodge Monster Drags. Now we can tell you as we get ready for round 2 action to show you the pairings, the fast losers coming back from round 1 are Boogey Van and the Equalizer. David Morris and Pam Vaters still in competition as fast losers in round 1.
We'll be talking a little bit later about this guy, David Morris. Been around the sport for quite a while. As a matter of fact, he's won national championships, but does not run on this circuit that often. He normally runs the indoor circuit where it takes a completely different chassis. He's going up against Dan Runte. And Runte has got to be the odds-on favorite here because this is his kind of track.
And he turned the fast time from round 1 at 4.93. He chooses the near lane, puts David Morris in the far lane. Just like that, it's all Ford. Morris had a rough landing as well. And that's the lane that we didn't talk about before. That's not the intimidation lane, as we call it. Turns out to be pretty intimidating this evening.
I was going to say, the drivers are looking down that left lane, and they don't like what they see. There's a lot of obstacles down there. There's only one little obstacle in the right lane. That's a hill. But David Morris...
Watch him get in trouble right here.
Boy, that hurt.
But again, he stays on the throttle, rights it, and continues on back to the hauler. Well, he'll spend the rest of the evening as our second round competition continues. Fred Shafer and Gary Porter. Fred Shafer in the Bearfoot Dodge and the big Dodge Hemi here in the near lane. The far lane, the privateer, is Gary Porter. There's a look at Fred Shafer out of Pontoon Beach, Illinois.
Lane choice goes to the quickest qualifying time. We opened the show telling you about how dangerous the right lane was, but all the quick qualifiers are indeed going to the right lane, exactly opposite of what happened last year. Porter out of Wadesville, North Carolina, he was the slower qualifier of the two, so he's pushed over in the left lane. I don't understand why. It's like the lanes have a personality. Nobody wants to date the girl in that left lane.
Well, it's all Fred Shafer in the Bearfoot Dodge. A nice, smooth ride. We documented earlier about some problems that Fred has had in the right lane over the season, but a nice, smooth ride there. Now, coming up next, there's Dan Patrick, and Patrick and Samson also chooses to go to that right lane as he will stage against Kirk Dabney in the Overkill truck. But first, before this second round matchup, let's go down and talk to Fred Shafer.
Fred, you got to take these things one lap at a time, but they're getting tougher and tougher, and your next lap could be your toughest. Runte in that other lane. By the way, who gets lane choice?
Army, I don't know what his time was, but he has been running faster time up to now, so he's probably going to get it.
Does the lane matter to you? We've been watching you all night long, and, you know, because of the problems you've had running in the right lanes all year long, we figured you may want to go to the left, but that's not the case.
Them concrete barriers and stuff, as you've seen in qualifying, Army, we kind of want to stay away from them if we could. That's why.
So there is the trade-off. They'll take the hill off the right lane as opposed to all the obstacles off the left lane. And now there is the Overkill truck of Kirk Dabney in that far lane or the left lane. He'll be staging against Dan Patrick in the Samson truck.
Everybody's landing straight in the right lane, so that doesn't bother me. The only time the right lane doesn't bother you is if you get cockeyed. Well, I'll check the left lane now.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise there. Kirk Dabney takes the victory, the left lane in the Overkill truck. So just as we talked about the right lane being the lane of choice, Kirk Dabney pulls out the win in the left lane. As we take a look again, now watch, he gets the whole shot. He won it right there. He cut a good light, put the horsepower down in no man's land, and takes the victory. So let's go down the trackside down and talk to what has to be a very happy Kirk Dabney.
Well, when you're interviewing a driver after a win like that, the only thing you can say is good light.
Well, Army, you know, a lot of work's been put into the truck, and the reaction time you see is just out of pure determination. Of course, we want a good starting line on the truck. It matters the most, but the truck feels like it's working better than it has in a while, and we owe that to all the people that back us on this. And we got to say special thanks to Russ Moore Transmissions out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Cook's Body Shop. Without them guys, we wouldn't be running like we are.
Okay, coming up next, there is Eric Meagher in Bigfoot. And Eric will be staging once again in that right lane against the Boogey van with Pam Vaters. There's Pam out of Hagerstown, Maryland.
Once again, this young lady definitely capable of driving with anybody as the Power Wheels Bigfoot team goes, like you said, you point out to the right lane. It's kind of strange how, like I say, the lanes have a personality. This time last year, you couldn't give the right lane away. Now Eric Meagher has lane choice and goes over to the right lane, push the young lady into the left lane or the lane with the barriers.
But I think after what we saw in qualifying, the guys and gals are somewhat concerned about the obstacles in the shutdown area, so it's a trade-off. They'll take their chances in the right lane with that hill that drops off to the right. Well, it's all Bigfoot, but a rough landing. Oh, he blows off the right rear.
He blew the right rear tire off. The front end nosed in and then slammed the rear end down.
So there you can see it is off the rim, so he takes the victory, but the Bigfoot crew will have to change that right rear before he can continue on in the next round.
Watch the bounce. It's kind of the nose-over attitude of the truck. See, he kind of noses down now with the front end's in, then it slams the rear end down, but the tire doesn't go flat until now. Kind of strange, Gary.
Well, so the Bigfoot crew will have some work cut out for them to change that right rear as the foot gets towed back to the pit area. We'll take this break and come back with more action from Canfield, Ohio. Welcome back to Canfield, where the thrash on Bigfoot continues. We understand, though, besides the right rear popping off, they have a drive line problem. Now, the semifinal tree will have the two top trucks in the PENDA point standings, Power Wheels and Bearfoot, along with Overkill taking on Bigfoot. Now, here's Army with Eric Meagher.
Pam Vaters ran you tough. She's going back in. If you don't make it back, can you make it back?
I think we can. We're on a time frame here, so we got to work real fast. Pam, we knew we were going to have to run hard. We pushed our equipment to the limit, as you can see. It's falling out from underneath the truck. We're hopefully going to get it back in. We'll be back next round. If not, we tried our best.
And right away, Eric jumps in to help out the crew under the frame of Bigfoot. There is the look at the Intimidator we talked about earlier, the Power Wheels of Dan Runte, and there's the Barefoot Dodge Hemi of Fred Shafer, and Fred's over there in that far lane.
Lane he has not run in so far tonight. The left lane, first time. The way the truck always turns in a bad situation is towards the right. Both of these drivers better be on their toes. If Fred has a run that's not a good run, he hooks it right. Bingo, he's right into the side of this Power Wheels truck. And I don't care who you are, you make a book on the other guy, and both drivers know what the potential is here. We could have a disaster if that red truck turns right.
Joe Batista, the starter, out of Youngstown, Ohio. And it is Dan Runte. And once again, Fred does get off to his right a little bit, but not that far into Dan Runte's shutdown area, as he takes the Power Wheels forward to the final round here in Canfield. A look again.
Both trucks leave at the same time. A good, clean start, but right in the middle of the track, right here is where the Ford really gets to put the horsepower down, Gary.
And Army, you have caught up with our winner, Dan Runte.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Another 4-second run. Wherever you're doing, just keep doing it.
That's right, Army. The Power Wheels Bigfoot, and owe a lot to Herbie and Gary. Gary tuning the motor here tonight. He's got it dialed in on kill. It's just going. We're in the 4 seconds. We're not changing it. You're right.
Well, we have one half of the final set. The Power Wheels Bigfoot, one of the Intimidators. However, the other one, well, they may be running out of time on Eric Meagher, because Kirk Dabney and Overkill is on the line. He is ready to stage, but we have no Bigfoot. Let's send it back to Army in the pit area.
Well, the PENDA official has just informed the Bigfoot crew they did not make the time cut. Pam Vaters, her crew on the other side, is giving a fire-up signal. Girls against the guys. Let's see if she can do it, ladies.
So Pam Vaters will pull out to stage against the Overkill truck and Kirk Dabney. The Dodge Monster Drags, like the four-wheel Jamborees, are part of the Special Events Performance Series. Visit the manufacturer's Midway. There's also several categories of show and shine competition. To find out when a Jamboree or a Monster Drag will be in your area, contact the Special Events Promotion Company and take part in the four-wheel fun. A surprise participant in the semifinals. The Boogey Band, Pam Vaters, was about to be a spectator, but they could not get the Bigfoot monster truck ready in time, so Eric Meagher becomes a spectator. And Pam becomes the participant. Now, that's the way you watch a monster truck show.
That's his mom driving that monster truck. And I tell you what, it's a very popular move, too. A lot of the people out there are starting to know that the Vater families are playing hardball. They're trying to get that break. Pam can drive the truck. Her husband can fix the truck.
Look at this. Pam Vaters takes the victory. Listen to the crowd. The crowd loves it. Pam Vaters will be in the finals against Dan Runte's Ford.
I believe on television this is the first time she's ever made it to the finals. I am tickled to death for that team. They've worked so hard to get here.
Well, you will not hear a bigger ovation for anyone that we just heard when Pam knocked out the Overkill truck of Kirk Dabney. She has to be delighted. Let's talk with Pam.
RPMs, I'm up at 89.
Right now, she just gives her engine builder the word. She's at 8,900 RPMs. I'm going to tell you something about her. A lot of people don't want to know. Before she comes out of that truck, she's a little lady. She puts her seat belt and folds them all back up before she'll come out. But Pam, congratulations. You're going to a final. You all have worked so hard to be here. The crowd's behind you. You know, I'm just as excited as you are.
Yeah, I want to thank a few people right now. I want to thank Rushmore Transmission for building me a transmission that's really getting me down the track this weekend. I want to really thank our motorman, Pete Bronzine, who's coming in to help to tune in the motor. And I want to thank my husband for putting up with me for, you know, all the trouble I've been giving him with trying to get the truck going in. But we're really working hard, and I'm just glad to see it's paying off for us, you know, this time.
Well, and you saw the right rear get sheared off a Rampage in qualifying earlier. They're still working on that Dodge down the pit area. We'll be right back with the finals. Armie Armstrong and Gary Lee back in Canfield, Ohio for the finals of the Dodge Monster Drags. It is Ford against Ford. That is the Power Wheels Bigfoot of Dan Runte in the right lane, the near lane, the far lane, Pam Vaters in the Boogey Van Ford.
Yeah, it's Ford against Ford, but it's the girls against the guys. And I tell you what, if there's a crowd favorite, for the first time in a long time, it will not be a Bigfoot truck. A lot of people like him, but a lot of people are pulling for this young lady to take her first win ever. Worked so hard to get here. Let's see if she can do it.
Well, she's made steady progress over the last 2 seasons, and here she is in the finals.
That's taking nothing away from Dan Runte because he's worked just as hard to get here, but he's been here before. We brought that man on board. He started making them horsepower. That's
There's
the
Mike
wallet.
Vaters.
A lot of drama here.
It was a good run, but oh, Mike thought he had it there for a moment. Mike Vaters thought that Pam had won, but indeed Dan Runte takes the victory here in Canfield. She was ever so close.
Both drivers cut a good light, but Pam, after the first jump, does a little bit of a wheelie right about here. See, now Bigfoot puts all 4 of them big old meat to the ground.
Well, our winner is Dan Runte, and he's with Armie.
Dan just asked me, is it over? It has been one of those nights, hasn't it? But congratulations to you and the crew. You did it, you know, you stayed cool. You did what you had to do. But they were definitely coming after you.
Yeah, they were. You know, that's what I've been saying all night. You have to be consistent. Power Wheels Ford. Firestone helped us. I mean, tires were hooking up excellent. I can't say enough about those. And the crew, like you said, Armie, they're all great people. They put it all together as well as myself.
We'll take a look now at the current PENDA point standings showing Runte still leading Fred Shafer. Meagher is still third, then Porter and Ken Deppe. But we have to talk to Pam Vaters. Armie?
Well, Gary, we're going to walk over and talk to Pam while she's interviewing a cast of a young lady. Pam, how close was it on the other end?
It was pretty close. I mean, he beat me by about a truck length from what I seen standing in my lane and everything. But I'll tell you, Armie, I was just proud to be there in the finals. You know, it's the first time I made it there since my racing career started, and I'm just real proud to be there.
Hey, gang, who do y'all think's a good monster truck driver? How about this lady here, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that wraps it up from Canfield. For Armie Armstrong, I'm Gary Lee. We'll see you next week on Trucks and Tractor Power. Now here's news and an exciting video release from Diamond B Sports.